Alright. I had to go get the video. I wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping, make sure it wasn't all a dream. I misstated and said that he was sentenced to 6 years, and after he serves 3 of those 6, he gets probation. Well, he don't. Excuse me. I'm glad he don't get no damn probation. He should motherfucking shit. After he do 3, they should put him in a room and never mind. But his name is Cardinal George Pell, Pell. The video we can already watch is a little CBS clip. They gonna break it down and get into it. Like I said, I came up on a story late last night when I got off. I really didn't get a chance to really get in depth with it, but it grabbed my attention enough for me to share it with you all. You understand? And whatever the video don't touch on, I don't touch on. If you there personally, like, you know, in the area, and it's something that you want to add to the conversation, go ahead, drop it in the comment section. It don't cost a thing. Other than that, let's get to the video.
Cardinal George Pell has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. He will be eligible for parole after 3 years and 8 months. The former Vatican treasurer was found guilty of sexually abusing 2 choir boys in the 1990s. Pell was convicted on 5 counts involving sexual abuse. Emma O'Sullivan from our partners at Network 10 in Australia was in the courtroom as the sentence was handed down. She joins us now from Melbourne. Emma, thanks so much for being with us. First, what was it like in the courtroom as the judge announced the sentence?
Well, the courtroom was packed, and there was another room set up where people could watch and listen.
Hey, I'm sorry, but watch the lady in the background fighting these signs, though. It must be real windy. And plus, it's going to be a delay between the host and the lady doing the interview. It's going to be a little delay, so just bear with them. I'm sorry.
And in what was unusual, he also allowed the media to broadcast this sentence live. So after detailing his sentencing remarks for an hour, he asked the Cardinal to stand and announced his fate, that he will serve 6 years and must serve at least 3 years and 8 months before he's eligible for parole. This case has obviously sent shockwaves throughout the Catholic Church in Australia and around the world because, as you mentioned, George Pell is the Vatican's former treasurer, and he was considered the 3rd most powerful Catholic in the world. George Pell himself was poker-faced as those years were announced. He didn't show any reaction, and he bowed to the judge as he was led away to go back to prison, where he'll begin serving his sentence.
Well, Emma, what was the maximum sentence that Pell was facing, and what did the judge give as his reasons for the 6 years that he actually sentenced Cardinal Pell to?
So the maximum penalty at the time these offences occurred in the mid-1990s within the cathedral, the foremost place of Catholic worship in the city of Melbourne. The maximum penalty for an indecent act with a child and sexual penetration of a child under 16 was 10 years, and he was convicted of 5 charges, all the charges that were before the jury that found him guilty of.
So before she goes on, you heard what she just said, right? He was convicted of 5. Each one should have been 10 years, should have been 50 years. 50, not 6.
These offences. This wasn't a situation where he was going to be sentenced to decades in jail, however, because there were a lot of factors the judge was legally required to take into account, including
the only one should be what's at the bottom of your screen. Former number 3 Vatican. That's the only reason he didn't get the max. And of course, you know,
Cardinal's advanced age. He did say during the sentencing that it's possible that Cardinal Pell may not survive before his prison sentence finishes, given the number of health issues he's facing. In detailing the offending, he called it breathtakingly arrogant. These crimes were said to have happened inside the cathedral straight after the Cardinal had presided over solemn Sunday Mass in a room called the priest's sacristy. The court heard that these two boys, who were 13 at the time and had just performed in the church choir, had found some sacramental wine and were getting up to mischief, taking some swigs, when the Cardinal found them and then abused them. The judge said it was callous, it was brazen, and that the Cardinal ignored the boys' objections and told them to be quiet when they started crying.
And Emma, what happens now? Is there a possibility that the Cardinal could appeal?
Check this out. I wanted to cue the Samuel L. Jackson voice. And I hope they burn in hell.
Yes, his legal team has always maintained, and George Pell has always maintained, that he is innocent of these charges. And even before he was sentenced, they lodged paperwork to appeal against his conviction in Victoria's highest court. That appeal is set down for June 5 and 6. Now, it's possible, although it would be unusual, the Cardinal could apply for bail pending the outcome of that appeal, but for now, he is behind bars.
All right, Emma O'Sullivan reporting. Emma, thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can, let's see here. See if it'll let me.
8 months. The former sexually abusing 2 choir boys in the 1990s. Pell was convicted.
Let me see. I can still see it, can't you? Can y'all still see us? Am I still screen sharing? Can y'all still see my screen? Cool. Yeah, this was crazy. Was this the one I was reading? You know, we ain't gonna have a read along unless somebody broke the weed along. But yeah, I'm just gonna skim through it in case anybody wants to, you know, take time out, do some research on it. You won't build on it. Because what I've come to find out is that the Europeans look at the Pope as the vicar of Christ, which means as the same as, nobody above. So if you looked at as Christ, and you don't have to answer to nobody because nobody's higher than Christ, then man, you know that's some powerful shit. that's a powerful title to hold. The Pope is more, and we know, you know, the president is only a puppet, but the Pope, these cardinals and shit, man. Trying to move that big head boy on the corner. Abuse position of power and shown no remorse for his crime. Yeah. Degrading and humiliating to the victims. After centuries of impunity, cardinals from Australia to Chile pointing facing justice in both the Vatican and government courts for their own sexual misdeeds or having shielded abusers on the watch. he failed to report a known pedophile, and it's a lot of that going on. Come on, man, you know what I'm saying? Hell yeah, Queen Chantel, yeah, they do, and that and that just starts a whole type of cycle of dysfunctions to see. And they running around, everybody ain't mentally strong to where they can overcome them demons and move on. They play it for it. That's crazy. You know what? The one of the hardest things it took for me to do was really grow up and really start learning from my own and standing on my own square as a man, and don't just believe everything that I was told as a young pup. You know what I'm saying? Because it's good to have morals, principles, scruples. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have those type of... Y'all want to watch this?
What if you're going hiking? What if we take...
Yeah, we ain't doing no commercials around here. Ain't nothing paid around here. Ain't knocking nobody who's paid. You know what I'm saying? It's what y'all do. But I ain't getting no guapo off this. Oh, okay. Let's get to it.
Became the highest-ranking member of the Roman Catholic Church. Videotape has emerged showing Australian Cardinal George Pell being interviewed by police in Rome. Seth Doan is in Rome this morning with more. Seth, good morning.
Good morning. Cardinal George Pell, who is now behind bars awaiting sentencing, was once the Vatican's treasurer and a top advisor to Pope Francis. Now, in this newly released video, we are seeing his indignant reaction to the charges he faced.
The allegations are products of fantasy.
That was Pell in the 2016 exchange with police. At the time, the top-ranking cardinal was learning details of the charges against him, that he'd abused two 13-year-old choir boys in 1996 when he was the Archbishop of Melbourne.
Planted yourself in a spot between these two boys and the doorway in the sacristy room?
After Sunday Mass?
Yes. And, in effect, prevented them from leaving the room. Now, the boys knew they were in a fair bit of trouble, and that at that time you've moved your robes to one side and exposed your penis.
Stop it.
The video released Friday by the Melbourne court reveals hints of what would later make up the Cardinal's so far unsuccessful defense.
Completely false. Madness.
All along, he has maintained his innocence. His legal team has filed an appeal. The Vatican will handle its own investigation. News of the guilty verdict in civil court was released just after the Holy See's landmark sexual abuse summit. Father Hans Zollner was one of the organizers. Can you envision a scenario where the Vatican comes up with a different conclusion than the Australian courts?
I don't think so.
Pell is no longer in charge of the finance ministry. The 77-year-old faces up to 50 years in prison. He will be sentenced March 13th.
And we know he's got 6. This has been my thing. This is what my people used to do. They used to ask you a series of questions. They're going to ask you a series of questions that they know is true, that you know is true. There's no undeniable way that you can mess it up because you both know it's true. This is body language, how you respond, where you look at a person. Then they'll ask you a series of questions that seem like bullshit. See how you respond. See how your body reacts. Straight up hit you with some lies, with some hearsay. See how you respond. See how you react. If somewhere in all that shit, your shit ain't adding up, bro, we know what's up. She knew what's up. They know what's up. And the fact that they got to have a summit of pedophiles, you motherfuckers, y'all know what's up. Excuse my language. But yeah, It's crazy. Let me see. Is there anything left for this article right here? Linked. Royal Commission's nation's highest level inquiry 2016. Melbourne's hometown Barat. 4-year commission found in 2017. Melbourne. Archidose. In order to cover up allegations. Said most of them have been dropped. Yeah, not to see. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I know we ain't in Australia or none of that, but you know, it's just wild. You know, I could always dive and start looking to some preachers around, you know what I'm saying? Some local preachers, but hey, on the grand scale, we know if they doing it, what the local people doing, man. Hey, shit. We grew up in the churches. We know what's going on. We know what Sister Avery's husband is doing. You know what I'm saying? Shit been going on for years. Look at him. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? Look at him. He ready to croak, sitting on his white throne. Look at that. Huh? Somebody go up and smack that little motherfucker. Excuse my language. That's a bet, though. But look, I appreciate y'all coming through. This morning build, like I said, if you got anything you want to add, you want to continue to build on this, just get with me in the comment section. Ain't no thing. I appreciate it. It's just something light. I just happened to see a story last night before I laid down. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that it happened in the 90s. I think she actually said 1990. This is 2019, ain't it? And for each charge should have been 10 years. He should be facing 50 years. They hit him with 6. He a hell of a lawyer. I'm out.